What's going on, guys? Reisshub back with another video, and in today's video I want to cover how to fight in Season 5. Attacks, charges, very difficult to use, so I want to give a bunch of box fighting tips, and I'm going to be doing this from a community post I made on YouTube, so answering the questions I put there. I'm also going to be using different pros examples from their Twitch VODs, just of them playing Arena, to give kind of some context to that. Mainly Lecce at this point, but I have some others of like Andalex, Janice, and Wolfie's in there too, so you've got more keyboard, mouse, and controller players doing the same things. Let's get into it. So let's start off with the basic question. Everyone's asking, should use the attack, should use the charge? I'm going to be very quick with this answer because I've said it before. In highly stacked competitive games, nearly everyone was using the charge back in Season 3, mainly because the server performance was not that great in endgames, and tax had a multitude of benefits, such as being able to pick up more eliminations easier because of the faster fire rate as well, and being less clunky just generally because the charge is a very awkward weapon to use. In Arena, and when you're just W keying, I think it's probably all personal preference. Both are very viable. I still think the attack is long-term better. And it also depends if you're playing a team mode or if you're playing solos, but it is all preference. So let's go into the tactical shotgun and how to use it most efficiently. Most people ask the question how to 50-50 with the tac, and the straight up answer is that you do not 50-50 with it. Always try to make it go into your favor and ensure you have the advantage. So let's look at some movement and peeks from Lecce. You can see in this first clip he's using a right hand peek on the stair to avoid being shot by the opponent who has a charge shotgun in one of these tilted towers. He's doing a very simple uncrouch, shoot, crouch, move to the left behind the wall. And he does this again in this next clip you'll see where he's coned his opponent, and he does exactly the same thing here. This is very, very critical muscle memory, especially if you've taken a wall and you've done a kind of a peanut butter edit, or you've just done a window peek. The same thing applies. You can very easily crouch out of this, take a shot and go back in. This obviously gives you a right hand peek advantage, and you can just do this over and over again. Very simple to practice in creative as well. The next thing is something I've talked about a lot, which is having an advantage. This is something I've talked about a lot in many videos, but it's particularly important when you're running in a box with a tactical shotgun. If this is what you decide to do and you decide you want to get into the box, you need to ensure that you have more HP than your opponent and that you're going to get the first shot off as well. You can see in this fight, for example, Lecce gets the upper hand by first doing a peanut butter peek and hitting a shot on opponent. This gave him the advantage and he knows he has the benefit. After this, he tries to run into the box and then 50-50 with the tactical, knowing that he's up on HP, which makes it not a 50-50 because he has the advantage. He still nearly loses this fight, however, so this was still a difficult play to make. And it just shows that even with an advantage, you still may lose the fight. So definitely not the best idea just to 50-50 and run in. But if Lecce didn't have this first initial shot off, he may have not won this fight at all. Another way that you can kind of get this advantage is just by surprising your opponent. You can obviously beam them first up front instead of the fight, so that you've obviously hit them for some AR damage. Then you know you have the advantage if you pressure them off so that they can't heal. Or just in this particular clip, notice how Lecce is consistently moving, consistently getting different angles on his opponent, and because of this he manages to get the floor cone above him and double let it in. The opponent is so surprised because this was so fast. He's just boxed up and Lecce already has the floor cone above him, that despite the fact Lecce has to reload, he still manages to pick up this elimination. So consistently pressuring walls and cones and floors and being fast in your movement from different angles will definitely help you manage to get more eliminations, because your opponent isn't going to know where you're going to be coming from, and you're going to be able to snag some great piece control on him because of this. Another thing that Lecce does is always has an escape route in case the 50-50 just becomes that, a 50-50, and it does not have the upper hand. If you notice in this clip, he has the floor cone again and he double edits down into the box. He then hits 2 shots, but the opponent also hits 2 shots at the exact same time back at him, and this fight can really go either way at this point. One more shot from any player can really win this. So if you notice, he jumps out of the box and resets the floor to block that last shot, edits back down and then picks up the elimination this way. Ensuring that he had an escape route definitely may have won him this fight, because that opponent could have just hit him back and won that fight instead. How many times have you heard someone say, my attack only hit for 23 damage? Well, reality check, it's because your aim sucks. The thing with the attack that people don't seem to understand is that the bullet spread is very large. So you can see that in the background clip, I'm shooting the sentry in the head with just the corner of my crosshair, and I'm just consistently hitting 24s. No matter what angle I do this at, it's pretty much the same, and that's a headshot. So you can always hear people say, I hit him for a headshot, I only hit 24, the attack sucks. So how do you actually fix that? Well, if you notice, while I'm 1 tile away from here, I'm constantly aiming at the center of the head, and I'm hitting around a kind of 80 damage shot on average from 1 tile away. However, if I then aim my crosshair at the upper chest, just below, maybe kind of right at the bottom of the neck, you'll see I'm hitting much more consistent damage, and this is from hipfire. So this is because there's more pellets hitting the head and more pellets hitting the body at the same time. Just remember, it has a large spread. So if you're not ADSing, remember, shoot them in the bottom of the neck, not just straight in the head. You will hit way more consistent shots. Now, if you're further away and you're ADSing, you're better off to actually just shoot them in the head, kind of in the lower chin. I know most people don't have aim that is this kind of precise, but that's where you should be thinking about you're going to aim. In the bottom of the chin, because when you're ADSing, the crosshair becomes more narrow and the bullet spread becomes tighter, so you can actually aim at the head and hit better shots this way. On top of this, if you actually don't hit a headshot and you just hit a body shot, chances are you'll hit a max damage body shot and hit way more than 23 anyway, no matter what kind of shotgun you're using. So it's actually better to aim for body with the tac, be it kind of upper chest or just generally in the body, because you're going to be way more consistent with your aim. Remember that. Stop complaining about hitting 23s, your aim sucks. Okay, so let's move on to how to use the charged shotgun. And I'm not going to go over too much because I actually have a full video that did season 3. You can see it on screen here, and it'll be linked down below as well. I don't know if you can click this. I don't know how YouTube works that well, but we'll figure that one out. So the first thing is you do not want to jump into a box when you have a charged shotgun as much as possible. You really have to read which shotgun your opponent has, and if he has a tac, you just know you have to keep at least one box difference and at least have one build piece between you that you control. If not, you're going to lose the fight. And if you do end up going into the box, do not try to charge. There are a lot of situations where you can charge your shotgun and have the benefit, mainly when you're waiting. If you're walking around a corner and you need to charge up because you're going to get that little bit of extra damage, go for it. But if you get into a box and you're in a really close one-to-one situation, this is not the situation to charge. They're going to out DPS you with attack very, very quickly. So you just want to quickly fire with your shotgun and then switch to your spray weapon, whatever that is, to follow it up. That's your biggest chance to win if you're inside of a box with a charged shotgun. The muscle memory for insta firing is pretty difficult to build up because obviously it is on release. So actually if you use edit on release, you might be kind of familiar with this muscle memory already, but you need to learn how to practice this. And on top of this, you need to learn how to insta fire and then place builds. It is slightly different than doing it if you were actually using another shotgun because you are releasing that button and then you have to press it down again. So just go into creative, practice this, and build up that muscle memory of how to actually just insta fire with the charged shotgun and then place builds as well. Another thing with the charge is you're going to have to be very, very patient. Consistently take good right-hand peeks and peeks over floors, over ramps, whatever it is, and just have that crosshair lined up perfectly with good crosshair placement already. The charge is not a weapon that is very, very responsive to you just flicking and doing any of these kind of shots. You have to have very, very controlled aim, so ensuring that you're using right-hand peeks with good crosshair placement is 100% required. If you get into a situation where you're in a box and being pressured, someone trying to take your wall, and you're fully just charging your shotgun, you can just sit and wait inside the box. Obviously, if they make a mistake, you can then just hit them with a big charge shot. Or you can actually take the wall back as soon as they edit. So if they take the wall and you're still holding that charge, as soon as they edit, you can just take that wall back, grab it, and it's yours. You can then either get out of the box or use it to make a play on your opponent. And the most important thing about the charged shotgun is it only has 3 shots in the kind of grey all the way up to blue variants, and then the purple and gold have 4 shots in it per charge. You must remember to reload all the time. With this gun, you have to get in the habit of consistently pressing reload over and over and again. And most of the time, I recommend that people actually just, as soon as they fire a shot, reload it in if they don't have an opportunity to kind of keep that pressure up. You know, if they've taken one shot and they have a brief second, reload it straight away, because as soon as you run out, it's over for you, and it's so easy to run out of ammo with these lower variants of the charged. The last thing is with the charge, you really have to have patience. A lot of the times people will just sit in their box holding that charged out, just waiting for you, and you have to be smart. You have to wait for them to make a mistake. A lot of the times they will just shoot it, and you're going to be then use that opportunity to make a play on them. But honestly, if you use the charge, I would just think in your brain patience. Just think patience over and over and over again. You have to play very, very slow with it in terms of your angles, like I've already said. But just ensure, because if you don't, you can get tagged for huge damage by someone else with a charge. Or if a tac player gets into your box and you made a mistake because you weren't kind of slow and passive and patient enough, then it's over for you, because the tac is so much better when you get in the box scenario. So you just have to be patient. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned a lot. I've been Reisshub. Peace.